Welcome, everybody. I'm very honored to have Harbor Police Chief Magda Fernandez with me today.
Thank you for having me.
You know, we've been talking about having this interview for a while.
Yes.
We have. Where did you grow up?
Good question. I grew up in Nogales, Arizona, a small border town.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard of it before.
Yeah, so it's grown now, but it was really small. Went to the one high school at the time, Nogales High School, and actually worked at the hospital there. I was a search and rescue and EMT, and that's where I got my first experience with adrenaline. And I was a volunteer firefighter there. I volunteered for the Santa Cruz County Search and Rescue Team.
Okay.
I was a diver there.
You were a diver?
I did. I was a PADI certified rescue diver.
Now, how did you decide to get into diving?
So there was this shop, I think it was Alex Dive Shop downtown, and they promoted diving, and I'm like, well, why not? I was 17 years old. I was a baby, and went diving with them as part of just fun PADI certification. Now, I will tell you, we got to dive in the Sea of Cortez.
Wow.
So I was spoiled.
Beautiful.
I thought all oceans looked like that.
Uh-huh.
Very, very, very spoiled and blessed to be able to do that. And that's really what got me into getting into the water. I mean, Nogales is essentially landlocked.
Mm-hmm.
So as part of search and rescue, I was a diver. We did body recoveries out of lakes predominantly.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was different. And then actually in one of those dives, I met a Coast Guard retired chief. I was like, what are you doing recovering bodies? You need to be rescuing people. I'm like, that sounds amazing. And that's where I joined the Coast Guard.
So that was your destiny, the way that it all fell into place.
I think so. There's always a path for you, right?
I think you meet people that sometimes can say something or take you in a direction you never would have imagined.
Yes, because it's very hard to get out of those small towns and small town mentality.
Okay.
And I think there's always that fear factor of going into the big cities. And so he convinced me to go and take a look at it and talk to recruiters. And I was actually recruited out of Phoenix, Arizona.
I used to live in Phoenix.
Yes, it's hot.
We only had one freeway back then. That was it, and it's grown so much since the last 20 years. It's amazing how it's grown.
Yes, they have all sorts of loops now that loop you all around that area.
Right. So, how did you find out the San Diego Harbor Police, or how did they find you?
So I ran into the Harbor Police. So the Coast Guard, after I joined the Coast Guard, and I joined, after I did all my active duty, I came to, at the time, was known as MSO San Diego, Marine Safety Office San Diego. And I was a marine science technician assigned to their marine casualty investigations shop. And what I was doing there is I would evaluate marine casualties or vessel accidents involving documented vessels or Coast Guard regulated vessels. And part of that is regulating the credentials, merchant mariner credentials. And at the time, Corporal Mike Rich, who's now retired from the Harbor Police, was bringing me cases of people that, captains from vessels that he would arrest. And then we would do a whole process for suspension or revocation of those merchant credentials. Because we want people operating vessels out there in a safe, competent manner. And that's kind of how I got introduced to the Harbor Police. And at the time, Corporal Rich was like, oh my God, you could be a police officer. I'm like, maybe. And so he kind of pushed me to join. And that's where I got my start. So I applied in 2000, was hired in 2001. And 23 years later, I'm the chief of police.
That's amazing. So you probably never even planned on anything like this. It just is all kind of just falling into place.
It happened very organically. I promise you, I thought I would just be a beat police officer, which is essentially the skeleton, the infrastructure of our organization. And I love the work. I love our community engagement. I love what we did. And sometimes that one arrest, that one interaction, that one communication that you have with a person changes the trajectory of that person's life.
Oh, I bet.
So to see that, or to re-encounter those people and say, you know what, the day you arrested me, it was a life change for me. And that's what you want. You want to change behavior.
That was originally what I wanted to do years ago. Was
Really?
I applied 3 different branches in when I lived in Arizona, and they had a hiring freeze on. I originally had wanted to be a cop.
We're still hiring. You could come and work for me.
At my age, or what?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk. We'll talk. You never know.
You never know.
You never know. My great-grandfather was a chief of police in Iowa.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In Des Moines, I think it was where it was, or Davenport. I can't remember what city it was, but I only met him once. But I remember that I was fascinated by his badge, and interesting. I love law enforcement. I think it's a great profession, and I think there's a lot about it that a lot of people don't know about.
You're right, because it seems like the media plays such a vital role in our profession, and when the media focuses on the bad things, which is the 1% of what our profession does.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad, but we do a lot of great work within our communities, and again, we have a lot of amazing police officers out there changing lives every single day.
I had the opportunity because we have a mutual friend, Jeff Wooler, and I've had the opportunity. First, I met you when you were are you still at the same location over by Harbor? Is that where it's at?
At our headquarters.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's originally where I met you, and at the time, was it Steinbeck? Did I say the name?
Stainbrook. Mm-hmm. Chief Stainbrook.
Was there, and had a chance to meet him. That's the first time you and I had met, and Sarah had met you. But I was very impressed because there was so much about the Harbor Police that we didn't know about. We didn't realize there was so much training involved, and that you're not just regular police officers, which I don't know. When you say regular police officers, I don't know if that's really fair, because I don't think anybody's regular. I think you're always that job, and you never know what you're gonna get. But in your situation, with the Harbor Police, you have to also have a specialty with the fire department aspect, which a lot of people are not aware of, right?
Correct. So we are a very multidisciplined organization. So we are regular police officers in the sense that our officers look the same and are trained the same when it comes to what we refer to as municipal policing. We drive a black and white. We have the same authorities. Obviously, our jurisdiction is Port Tidelands, and at the same time they're wearing that uniform, if a fire breaks out on board a vessel or in a marina, our officers are expected to transition over, put on turnouts, and help extinguish the fire. And in order to do so, our officers go through 3 weeks of pretty rigorous firefighting training, marine firefighting training. And it's very different than land-based firefighting because you're always dealing with unstable platforms. And there's a time component to it. A vessel will burn and sink in a matter of minutes, obviously depending on the size and construction of that vessel, but it's a very dangerous job for our officers to be out there and doing this. We coordinate and train with our local fire departments for all 5 member cities.
And then also you have to have, which you originally had, which was experience in diving.
Correct.
So there's the diving aspect, there's the firefighting aspect, and there's the police aspect, all 3 tied together.
Correct, and along with aviation security.
That too.
See,
so, I didn't know about this.
Yeah, so we, when people fly into San Diego International Airport, it is San Diego Harbor Police that is responsible for all law enforcement component at that airport. So we work very closely with airport security there and our partners, our federal partners, to make sure that everything that happens at Lindbergh Field is a good experience.
Does that involve the dogs?
Yes, that involves the dogs. We have 5 teams that are all explosives detection canines. They are all TSA certified, and they deploy at the airport. They're also a regional asset though, so anytime there's a bomb threat, anytime there is a sweep that needs to be conducted, our dogs are available to do that. So we work closely with the county administration building for their events. They conduct sweeps at our cruise ships facilities, or if there is a bomb call out, then our dogs are able to deploy.
So how much has the Harbor Police's job changed in the last 20 years, do you feel? Has there been any changes, or is it pretty much the same thing?
I think our missions have remained the same. What has changed is the amount of calls for service that we respond to. And as the port continues to grow, our department's calls keep increasing. And I think we're in an interesting time where, with what has happened with the civil unrest, with COVID, and the anti-police rhetoric that we have seen has definitely changed the way we do policing. So the way we did policing 20 years ago is very different now, and a lot of it is driven by legislative changes that has happened. So that is different, but also we're starting to see a swing in the type of calls that we're responding to. Obviously, we have a crisis with the amount of people that we're encountering that are unhoused.
Oh yeah.
So that's a change. Not that they weren't there before. It's just a significant increase in that. And when you over legislate law enforcement, the profession, and when you decriminalize drugs, you decriminalize crimes involving theft, and there is no accountability, it then condones behavior. And it is very hard to change that behavior or place people in facilities like rehabilitation centers that are no longer existent because they were defunded. So when you defund mental health institutions or healthcare systems that are designed to help these people, then you create what we have now. And it is very difficult. It's difficult for officers that deal with the same people with the same problems all the time, and there's no recourse or resource for them, or they're limited. We're dealing with refugee crisis that our open borders have to some degree caused, and there's nowhere for these people to go. And these are families with kids. It's not their fault.
They're living on the streets?
Living on the streets. So it's really hard.
So the challenge is, and I don't want to get political because this is not about politics, but it's about reality of what's going on. And I think I had heard something earlier in the news today that, it's a shame because we're allowing people to come into the country. We're giving this false hope of what, they can have or what they can get. In a lot of situations in San Diego, unfortunately, they're ending up on the streets because there's really nowhere for them to go. Not everybody has a ticket to go to Chicago or different places.
Absolutely. And we're seeing an increase at our airport.
How do you, what's the response been from people that believe that it's right to allow them to come here, but yet once they get here, we're really not taking care of them? What's the response? Are we just not getting a response about this?
So I'm not getting a response, but I will tell you what our department is doing, especially with the refugee crisis. A lot of these people come from South American countries where police to them may not be friendly. So you have to develop that relationship with them to make sure that they are not victims of crime. That's
really hard because of the trust issue.
It is a trust issue. So we have amazing officers that work for our organization. They go out there and check on them a lot, interact with the kids and make sure that they have what they need and call the resources that at least we can call, because the shelters right now are full. They're not taking families. And it's a crisis.
So what's happening with the kids? Are they able to go to like a Perkins situation, a school, or are they just not going to school, or what's happening?
Well, fortunately for them and us, it's summertime, so right now that's not an issue, but it will become an issue once school starts, and we're hoping to be able to get them the resources they need before that time, so those kids can be settled and in a school.
So you have all these added things to your job that weren't there before. And of course, hopefully there's local politicians that are listening, realizing that this is a ticking time bomb that could end up getting worse.
It is, and the reality is it's not a police problem.
No, it's not, but it has become it.
It has become one, and it's hard, and it's resource tasking, but it's also a humanitarian thing, right? We have to help these people somehow.
Sure, no, absolutely. It's the right thing to do.
Correct.
And they're here, and we have to figure it out. It's not time to nitpick and say, well, they don't belong here and get under these situations. It's just you got to do something to help them, and you're doing that. Are you working in those situations at all with like the food banks or anything like that, as far as being able to get food to them?
So they're very resourceful, and we have different groups that come out and assist them and with their needs with foods or medical. So we do have them. They go in where they are. Okay.
What other things do you find challenging right now that's added, that are new things that are going on that maybe we haven't talked about?
I think some of the challenges that myself or our agency, along with other agencies, I think some of the challenges are staffing issues that we have come across. and I think is a national issue, not just the Harbor Police issue, both with our dispatch centers and our police departments. I think it's just a whole new generation of police officers that, or employees, I should say, because it's not just within our uniformed ranks, it's within our professional staff, where people have a high turnover rate.
Really?
Yeah.
And I have a lot of friends that are in law enforcement that are, recently have retired or have got retired and then went back into it because they missed it. But the job has changed. Media has given, I think, a different view of what law enforcement's all about, because I don't think they really know. I wish they would do more ride-alongs. I don't think we're getting enough of that. I think that would help.
I think so too.
They're not doing that, are they?
No, we're fortunate. We, the Harbor Police, have a good relationship with media.
Uh-huh.
So I know we've taken them out on our boats. We have taken out on our cars.
Sure.
To do segments of it. So we've been fortunate in that regard. But I think nationally,
I think it helps when they're able to go on a ride along and spend a day in the life, a week, whatever, and see really what's going on and see the interaction that in a lot of cases the law enforcement does have a good relationship with a lot of the community. I think there needs to be more of that nationally.
I agree.
And I don't know why we're not talking about it, but I think it's. I think like what we do, we do storytelling, and I think the storytelling aspect of what that job entails and how diverse it really is important.
Yes. I think like for us, we're blessed. We have an amazing foundation, the San Diego Harbor Police Foundation. That's a mouthful.
I like it.
Does great work. We, when speaking about positive media, we interact with Perkins Elementary. Our department adopted, along with the foundation, adopted Perkins Elementary. And we all know Perkins, almost half of that school is unhoused. You have kids living with relatives or kids living in cars, which is really sad.
The number could end up going up.
Yes.
It could end up being like 70%. I mean, because of just the new flux of individuals that are here now.
It's just, living in San Diego is very costly as well. So the foundation helps with that. We were blessed that we were able to raise enough money to get new furniture for a lot of their special needs classrooms,
Uh-huh.
and make sure that the kids have ergonomically correct furniture to enhance their learning and their educational experience. And so it's great to partner up with the foundation, who bring in programs like Teachers Rule, where they're able to get professionals from our community to volunteer their time to help these kids improve their reading comprehension skills, because COVID did a number to all our kids.
Mm-hmm.
And it delayed their learning, their education. When kids aren't reading and doing comprehensive problems to help them understand what their, the application of what they read is hard. So
they're probably getting in more trouble.
They could be, absolutely. That's why we try to keep them busy.
They need to stay busy. I think I saw a stat a while back, if it's changed, that a lot of the problems seem to happen between 3 and like 6 in the afternoon or something, or evening like that, when they have
that downtime.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, we try to keep the kids busy. We have after school programs like
Right.
the tennis program.
Oh, I didn't know about that.
Yeah, so the foundation has brought on board people that can play tennis. And
So you play tennis?
no. I should. I try.
Well, you do everything else. I mean, I
I
think you
try.
probably do tennis. You have all these different outfits in the car, in your car, in your trunk.
Yeah.
You go switch something out. You just wear a different hat, a different.
Yeah, I wish. I try. I'm not very good at it, but.
Yeah, but you try, and I have a feeling you're very humble, and you're probably a lot better than you're probably letting us know. But you do a lot of different things.
I try to keep myself busy, right? So I don't get in trouble.
I don't think you have time to. I mean, with your schedule and everything you do, you're all over the place. What is it about the Harbor Police in the next couple of years, or even the next year? Where do you see yourself going with the Harbor Police, and what can we see the Harbor Police doing?
So my goal as a chief, so we just finalized our strategic plan. The board adopted it or approved it, and have agreed to fund, I guess, portions of our strategic plan. It's a 5-year plan,
Okay.
and my priorities are officer wellness or employee wellness across the board for the department. recruitment, retention, our staffing, address our staffing needs, and our facilities. I'm hoping that before the next 5 years, we're able to acquire a new facility for our employees. That building that we're in is about 40 years old.
So would you want to move the location, or would you like to have that torn down and just rebuild something brand new?
Ideally, we stay in where we are. I think we have the right space for it. In the port, I can't speak enough about the port. They've been very supportive in all my initiatives with our strategic plan and our recruitment and retention and facilities initiative that I've brought on board. They've been very, very, very supportive, because ultimately we have to take care of our employees.
Oh yeah, that's
without them, we don't exist, right?
Exactly. And you know, and I wish more organizations thought that way. This comes up with a lot of successful people that we know in San Diego that have businesses and organizations, and the ones that seem to be doing very well, as you know, are the ones that really, you know, what you just said, which is taking care of your employees, realizing that you have what you have because of that. And sometimes, no matter what the organization or the business, if morale is down, it's going to have a huge impact on the success of what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely. And externally, you know, as we talked about with the whole law enforcement, COVID, civil unrest issues that we've dealt in the last, 3 to 5 years, we've been very fortunate with the port supporting the harbor police. And, with the benefits, with the help of the foundation. I mean, even, I'll call them small things, but I know they're big things, is just getting our gym back up and running with new equipment.
Sure.
That's a huge thing for our officers to be able to go in and work out.
Absolutely.
Our community, they're amazing. Our port tenants are amazing. They sometimes will buy lunch for officers on duty, and that goes a long way. That just little things. Sometimes they stop by and bring cookies and say, hey, you know what, thank you for your service.
One thing that I remember when we visited was that really cool coffee machine. Remember that coffee machine?
Yes, the foundation was able to get that as
that was really neat.
Yes, they got us that Vendy machine, and officers are able to have coffee, or well, not just officers, but our staff.
Sure.
And sometimes guests that come in are amazed by this coffee machine.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
It is. They can have their coffee before they go to work.
Yeah.
Don't have to pay exorbitant amount of money for a cup of coffee.
Right. And a good cup of coffee.
A good cup of coffee
Yes.
at that. And you can get hot cocoa.
Really?
And you can get your choices of coconut milk, and oh yeah, we're spoiled.
You are. Well, you know what? You deserve it, and everything that the Harbor Police does. You have become one of my favorite law enforcement groups in San Diego, and I love I love all of our cops, by the way. I don't think that without a good police department or law enforcement group like yourselves, I think there could become more civil unrest.
Yeah. I think I'll say this. In San Diego region as a whole, law enforcement is a very tight-knit group.
Good.
We, at least at the sheriff's at the chiefs and sheriff's level, we're all very cohesive. We all communicate, we all talk. We don't have jurisdictional issues. We all support each other and welcome each other when we're new, right? And try to elevate each other. I think we work really, really well. So all the agencies tend to get along here, at least in our region.
Yeah, they're the ones that I've ever known.
Yeah, I don't feel like it's always the case, and we embrace our federal partners as well. Because the more cohesive you work and cooperate with each other, the missions get accomplished a lot safer, easier, and better.
So I guess the question is, why do you think that is? Is it because San Diego is such a beautiful city, or do you think it has a lot to do with just the way everybody communicates and have been educated, and how important it is to work together?
Yes, that.
Okay.
Yes, I think the communication, collaboration between the agencies is so important. I know at the chief's level we do that. I know that at the seconds in command they do that as well. And so it's redundancy in the communication that is what we need. And over communicate.
Sure. And we have an expansion of the airport that's been taking place.
Yes, Terminal 1.
Mm-hmm. And that's still in the process, right?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So how much more volume of individuals are we going to see, or how many more? Because mostly the dogs work there, right?
Okay, no, we have a full component that works there.
Really?
Yes, so our airport is staffed by Harbor Police 24/7.
Okay.
That airport shuts down typically at around 11 o'clock midnight, depending on when the last flight that lands.
So you're gonna see more harbor police there because of once that opens up?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, we have to, right? And then we also have to leverage technology
Right.
to help us out.
Okay.
So it'll be a whole new airport here in the next year or so.
Yeah, I love our airport. I've traveled around, and the one thing I like about it is they have some really cool little restaurants, little bookstores. It's almost like a place you want to hang out at. You know what I mean? If you're going to be stuck somewhere, why not be stuck? Not to say you get stuck there, but to have all those varieties of things, it does make the time go by quicker.
It does make the time go by fast. And, you know, as a patrol officer, I loved working the airport.
Oh, I bet.
There is so much going on, both on the public side and on the ramp side, where all the airplanes land and take off. It's fascinating.
Do you know how to fly? Do you know how to fly a plane?
No.
Is that next?
I'm a good traveler.
I can see you learning how to be a pilot. It's on my bucket list. I'd love to become a pilot.
Look, I'm still mastering trying to be a boat operator.
Okay, I find that hard to believe. I think everything you go after. You know, again, thank you for what you do.
You're welcome.
You're very appreciated for what you do, and I know a lot of people are excited at you being chief. I'm hearing so many good things around the community about all the great things you're doing, and how you're approachable, how approachable you are.
Oh, thank you.
Another thing I've heard, and I feel honored that you took time to be here today.
Of course, it's my pleasure.
And I think, you know, anytime you want to come on, I want you to feel free to come on anytime, and if there's something we can help you with, we're always there for you too.
Thank you so much. Well, we can't do our job without the help of our community and the support of our community, because when you don't have the trust, then you don't really have a department that's efficient. So for me, having that bond, that trust, and it's people like you that highlight the work that we do in a positive manner, means a lot, and it goes a long way.
Well, this, you know, the thing is also, you mentioned this earlier, you are hiring. I think that if there's somebody out there that's thinking about a good career, this could be a very good career, correct?
Absolutely. I mean, it's been, I'm blessed to be able to be the chief of the Harbor Police, a place where I started as a rookie officer till now. And the education that I've received, the growth, the mindset, the mental fortitude that it gives you to to survive any challenge or obstacle. It's a lifestyle change that I've gone through. Anybody can do. If I did it, anybody can do it.
Oh, I don't believe. I don't believe that. I think you're gifted at what you. I think you're very hardworking, and I think when somebody's really hardworking, they make things look easier.
Maybe, but I think for me, it's a passion. It's a passion to serve. I think that's what I was. That's how I was born, and that's how I was raised. Right. To be a hard worker, a good worker, but have a passion for what you do. And for me, serving my community is a passion. And I've been blessed that I can serve my communities in different forms, not just as a patrol officer having that direct impact, but now as a chief of police with the bigger, broader spectrum of getting support for our organization, for the profession, but yet being able to serve my community at different levels.
And you're doing it.
I'm trying to, yes.
You are. Well, thank you for your time.
Of course, thank you.
And we have information on there for if anybody's looking to do, go check the website out.
Check the website, portofsandiego.org/careers.
There you go. Okay, Chief, thank you for being here.
Thank you. And then the last plug is that we're hiring for dispatchers, police officers, records, CSOs, and the port has a multitude of openings as well.
Okay. Maybe I need to talk to her. Maybe this is a good side gig. I mean, you never know, right? That'd be something. It's in my blood. Everybody take care.
Yes, take care, be good, be safe.
And we'll see you soon.
Yes,
Take
thank
care.
you.